It was going to be the best day of their lives, until this happened. Harold picked up his phone and called his wife Claire. "She's gone," Claire panicked. "The tension did it," Harold answered. "That beautiful cat has grown up between satin and velvet. She's no match for alley cats or coyotes. I have to find her before they do." "Oh, Harry," Claire wailed. "Should we report her missing?" "Give me some time," he answered. "If I run out of options and can't find her, then I'll report her missing," he said. "Oh, Harry," Claire worried. "I don't want animal control to get her. What if she ends up in the pound and someone adopts her? She's a gorgeous cat. Won't that complicate the inheritance?" "Maren is smart. She won't let herself get caught," Harold reassured her, but he already had the beginning of a tension headache. Harold Parker felt a sinking feeling that things were going to get worse, a whole lot worse. He had left the door of his office partially open, and when the family walked in, they didn't close it. That gave Maren a way out. This was the family's first failure. They couldn't even keep track of a cat for 10 minutes. It also showed Maren's intelligence. She seized the moment of utter chaos and escaped. The stakes were high. Now they had to find her before they could even begin to win her over. He pushed down the knot that had formed in his stomach and walked out of his office. Where would Maren go? Harold, think logically, he told himself. The ranch, her home. He went home and left his sedan in the garage and got into his truck. Maren didn't just run, she bolted. As the family scrambled through town in a panicked search, Harold Parker followed a different instinct. He knew Maren. He knew her haunts. He drove toward the ranch, but as the dust kicked up from the road, he saw it, a truck belonging to Greg Stone, Mallory's gardener. Harold killed the engine, watching from a distance. Stone wasn't alone. A short, blonde girl hopped from the passenger side, lugging a heavy, wire animal trap. She set it in the dirt with a metallic clank and swung the door open. Then a flash of white. Maren. Harold's hands gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. He was too far to reach them. He was a witness to a kidnapping in progress, a ransom plot unfolding in the heat of the late afternoon. Helplessly, Harold watched, his hands now balling into fists on top of the steering wheel. He was too far to intervene and stop them. They were going to trap Maren, possibly to hold her for ransom, but Maren was smart. She looked at them, then at the cage. She approached cautiously, whipping her tail, showing tension. Bad sign coming from a cat, Harold thought. She moved closer. The girl crouched, her voice dripping with a syrupy, false sweetness as she cooed into the brush. Maren emerged, cautious and low to the ground. Her tail whipped violently from side to side, a rhythmic warning. "Grab her now," the girl hissed. Stone lunged, but Maren was a blur of survival. Her teeth sank deep into his hand, and Harold watched as crimson blood sprayed onto the dry earth. The girl threw herself forward to pin the cat, but Maren turned into a whirlwind of claws. She shredded the girl's legs with surgical precision, leaving her screaming in the dirt as Maren vanished into the shimmering heat of the desert. "You stupid cat," the girl shrieked, clutching her bleeding legs. Harold recognized her now, a tech from the vet's office where Mallory used to take Maren. "You're gonna die out there. Just wait until the coyotes find you." The threat hung in the air. The pair retreated, bloodied and defeated, leaving the desert silent once more. But Harold knew the girl was right. Maren was alone, vulnerable, and the sun was setting. He reached for his phone, dialing the one person in Mallory's family he trusted, her grandson, Dylan. "Listen to me carefully," Harold commanded. "Get to the empty lot 2 blocks from my office in Tempe, take water, take cat food, and wait." "Why?" Dylan asked. "It's for Maren," Harold replied. "We need to save her from the coyotes." "On my way," Dylan said, and hung up. Only then did Harold start his engine. There was one more thing he needed to do. He drove to his office. He owned the 1-story building where it was located in downtown Tempe. It was a simple structure with a sign on the right side of the door. It was painted in the color of stucco, and the door was dark brown. The sign simply said, Harold Parker, attorney at law. Below the building was a big basement with 3 windows facing the street, just below the street level, but they could still be reached by a small creature like Maren. He inserted the key into the lock, walked in, went to the basement, opened one of the windows, just enough for a cat to slip in, placed Maren's beloved satin cushion on the floor, and left. He hoped that she would come and hide there from danger. All he could do was hope. It was all up to Maren now. All they could do was wait and hope that her survival instincts would lead her to accept the help being offered. He went home with a heavy heart. In the meantime, Warren had created a missing poster of Maren and was spreading it all over town, while Sage had gone to a small, local station and had made a tearful appeal for help in Maren's return. They had also made social media live posts. All of this, in their opinion, intended to help find Maren, but would have the opposite result, as people, seeking a reward, would get in the way. Cats are liquid. They can slip through impossibly small spaces. Maren could be hiding anywhere, or confused and alone. After Stone and that vet tech tried to kidnap her, she could be in terrible danger. Harold called Claire and told her what had happened and how he had deployed Dylan to the empty lot in the hope that Maren would approach him because of hunger and thirst, and how he had opened a window in his office on purpose for her to hide there. "I have done what I could, Claire," he told his wife as he drove home. "It's up to Maren now." The next morning after the vanishing, the family, still in disarray, started taking matters into their own hands in very personal and distinct ways. Harold Parker's office felt less like a law firm and more like a high-stakes cat-sitting competition. Sage arrived with a designer cat carrier, Warren with a custom-built, yet small cat tree, and Dylan. Well, Dylan had a book about cats. "Has anyone had any luck locating Maren?" Harold asked. Sage answered, "I believe Maren is discerning. She's used to elegant things. So I got her this special carrier and had it lined with soft, imitation mink. It's extremely chic and comfortable. I've asked your wife to let me place it in your front yard with a trail of imported salmon caviar leading right to it." "Caviar, please," Warren said. "That's for common cats. Maren is an empire builder. She needs a throne. This is a 3-foot, compact, multi-tiered cat condominium with a built-in scratching post and a water fountain. It has a motion-activated laser pointer. I will place it in your driveway. She'll be drawn to its status." I brought this book," Dylan said softly. "Understanding Feline Behavior. And I've read here that if I put out a simple bowl of water and some of her favorite food near the shade, in a place accessible to her, eventually she will come. I think maybe she'll appreciate a quiet space. No pressure." Sage scoffed. "A book? Dylan, this is a $50 million cat, not a college project. Have you been wasting your time in veterinary school?" "Leave him, Sage. He's just playing in his sandbox. We're talking real money here." None of them realized that Maren had been in the basement all night and had silently come down the hall. She looked at all of them. She listened. Her mind clicked. A mink-lined carrier. Does she think I'm a purse? And a cat condo with a laser. Does he think I'm a kitten? They still haven't learned. Only the little vet understands. A cat chooses its own throne. Then she turned around and vanished again. Another day of worry passed. The second day since she disappeared. Harold tried to work. Claire tried to concentrate too. She was a teacher and could barely stand to be at work when Maren was out there, exposed to who knows what danger. He got home and collapsed onto the sofa in the living room. When he checked his phone, there were 12 messages from a hysterical Sage and 10 from Warren. They had been all over town, but had not found Maren. Harold decided not to tell them anything yet. He feared they would get in the way. In the morning, Dylan reported that he had waited for hours at the empty lot, but Maren never showed up. He asked Harold to come and open his office. He had an idea. He wanted to place the water and the food in the basement, right by Maren's favorite pillow. Maybe she would come, eat, drink, and sleep there in safety. He suggested that Harold stop at a store and buy a litter box and a bag of litter to offer Maren more comfort. He then drove to the office, and Harold showed up with the litter box Maren was using at his house, clean and with fresh litter. They prepared a place for her with all she needed. He smoothed the red satin pillow to make sure they knew if she had slept there or not. Then they left, full of hope that the terrified little princess would come. In the morning, they both rushed to see if Maren had come. Claire came also. Hannah joined them in the basement. The food, the water, and the pillow were untouched. Maren had not come. She spent the night in the desert, Claire whispered in horror. Hannah placed one hand on her mouth. Dylan looked worried, so was Harold. I have to go back to the lot, Dylan said. I'll take fresh food and water and I will talk to her, gently, promising her safety, just in case she's hiding behind the cactus, watching and listening to me. Stay in touch, Harold requested. The young man nodded and picked up the dishes. He washed them and took them with him. She likes tuna, Claire had said, so he filled the food dish with tuna and the water. Dish with clean water. He positioning himself in the lot, not caring about the sun and the heat. They were sick with worry. What if something terrible had happened to Maren in the night, when the wild animals came out? Hunting, they didn't know she had been coming to the basement. Not for the entire night and not to lie down on the satin pillow. But she had been coming because she was scared and because she trusted Harold Parker. Still, for some reason, she made sure they didn't know she had been there. The fourth night brought a moon like a sliver of bone. Maren watched from the jagged silhouette of a dumpster, her body a map of exhaustion. Her ribs ached, and her throat felt like it was lined with desert sand. 2 blocks away, the boy, Dylan, was finally gone. But he had left the scent of safety behind, fresh water and the savory richness of food. It was a simple meal, but Maren decided not to be choosy. She moved silently, belly low to the dirt, pausing at every snap of a dry twig. She reached the bowls. She drank until her heart stopped racing, then ate with a desperate, frantic speed. But the lot was too open. The coyotes were singing in the distance, a high, haunting yip-yip howl that made the fur on her neck stand rigid. Her instincts caused her to leave before she could finish her meal. Scared and exhausted, she turned toward the brick building that housed Harold Parker's office. Then she saw it, the dark mouth of the basement window. To her relief, it was still open. Maren didn't hesitate. She leapt, her claws catching the ledge, and poured herself through the gap. She landed on the cool concrete floor. It smelled of dust, old wood, and faintly Harold's peppermint tea. It was a fortress. She crawled behind a stack of crates, curled into a tight ball, and let the darkness swallow her whole. For the first time in days, the white flash went out. After their failure with the elegant carrier and the cat condo, Sage and Warren went back to square one. Then both of them started offering a reward and began getting tips of Maren sightings. Leads that supposedly would direct them to her whereabouts. They had been busy following those tips. One of them took Sage to a particular alley about 5 miles from the lot where Dylan sat alone. Instead of running around, Dylan was patiently waiting at the empty lot, waiting for Maren to get comfortable and approach him and the food and water he had been offering on her own terms. Dylan had found signs that Maren, or another animal, was drinking water and eating tuna from the bowls he had left. He felt encouraged and decided to stick to the plan. He would spend one more day at the lot and see if Maren would finally come. Harold had also given him good news. She had visited the office basement, so she was getting closer. All they needed to do was to be patient and wait. While Dylan sat on the empty lot, Sage followed a tip she was certain would lead her to Maren. Supposedly, Maren had been living in a particular alley and was being fed cream by baristas that worked at a shop nearby. As Sage entered the alley, she heard hissing and mewing. There definitely was a cat in there, but it was late in the afternoon and it was getting dark. Maren, honey, come to Auntie Sage, she cooed, looking between trash cans that smelled so bad they made her stomach turn. Maren, honey, are you here? Sage saw something white behind a can and dove to grab it, falling to the ground as she clutched it. The white thing turned out to be a plastic bag full of trash. Then she saw some cat eyes watching her. Maren, the cat hissed in a dangerous way. She got up slowly and said softly, I'm leaving, no harm done, I'm going. She had lost one of her shoes, but she backed away without being attacked. She heard a noise between the trash cans, and she ran out of the alley, gasping for air. With one shoe missing and smelling horribly of trash and filth, she headed for the motel. Across town, Warren was facing a worse situation than Sage had. He had been led to the parking lot of the public library by his contact, where he had been promised solid information about Maren. He got out of this car, locked it, and looked around for his contact. He was in the parking lot of the public library. Before he could walk toward the library building, someone grabbed him around the neck from behind and started choking him. "Where's the money?" The man choking him hissed. "I don't have any money with me," Warren barely said. "I came for information about the cat, about Maren." The pressure around his neck tightened. Warren could barely breathe. "Where's your wallet? Give me your money," the attacker ordered. "I don't have it, it's in my car," Warren barely said in a choking voice. Right then, a short, slim, middle-aged lady who had gotten out of an SUV nearby with an umbrella spotted the mugging and came straight at the man choking Warren from behind and started hitting him and poking him mercilessly with the umbrella. "Let him go, you punk," she bellowed. "Or I'll turn you into mashed potatoes with this umbrella. I wasn't in the army for 25 years for nothing." The man let go of Warren, hurled him against the parking lot, and ran. Warren's head hit the hard ground and he felt dizzy. "Are you okay?" the short lady asked gently. Warren touched his bleeding, aching forehead. "I think I am," he said, touching his burning throat. "Thank you so much," he told her. She smiled. "I was a soldier for many years," she replied. "I can't watch abuse and remain indifferent." She helped him up. He couldn't believe that a little lady brandishing the point of an umbrella had saved him. Embarrassed, but thanking the lady profusely, he made his retreat, headed for the emergency room to tend to his wounds. While Sage was at the motel washing off the smell of garbage from that alley, and Warren was at the ER having his wounded head bandaged, Dylan sat quietly on the ground of the empty lot, reading his book on cats and sometimes pausing to talk to Maren, just in case she was nearby and could hear him. Eventually, after spending hours on the empty lot under a beating sun, reading his book on cats, sometimes talking to an imaginary Maren, and sipping from a bottle of mineral water, Dylan left and went back to his motel room. She watched him. She listened. She ignored him. Maren had been avoiding humans, avoiding capture ever since the kidnapping attempt at the ranch. In her present state of mind, she trusted no one. Hid behind cactus and creosote bushes, she waited until the little vet, Dylan, was finally gone. He was patient, she would give him that, and seemed to be a gentle soul, which reminded her of her mama. He had been out here for days, trying to get close to her. She wasn't sure she wanted to have humans in her life right now, including the little vet. But once more, he had left the scent of safety behind, fresh water and food. Tuna, her favorite. It was a simple meal, but Maren decided she could not be picky. She moved silently, belly low to the dirt, soiling her beautiful fur with desert sand, pausing at every snap of a dry twig, freezing at every moving shadow, her ears moving, listening for still faraway dangers. She reached the bowls. She drank desperately, quenching the thirst that was constantly with her now. Then she ate as quickly as she could, barely enough to sustain her but not enough to satisfy her hunger. She looked around. The open lot made her nervous. The coyotes were singing in the distance, in that high, haunting yip-yip howl that filled her with fear. Her instincts caused her to leave before she could finish her meal. She turned again toward the brick building that housed Harold Parker's office. Once again, the basement window was open, a refuge, safety. She didn't wait nor hesitate, but pushed herself through the opening into the dark basement. Before dawn, Maren left and vanished again into the desert.